I share it? It's been a long time. No, I think I'm in good shape. All right. What's happening, Diggs? I'm gonna try something a little different today. Um, so I've been playing D&D with some buddies, and I thought, oh, what the hey, you know, sometimes it's tough for us all to get together, and I thought, you know what, let's see what Claude can do. So I'm gonna mess around with Claude AI today, and see if it can be the dungeon master. So for this campaign I'm doing. Brand new campaign, brand new character. So, I think I'm going to start coming back a little bit too. Like, I've been away for too long. So I think I got to show up every once in a while. So I'm going to plan it, a couple of streams a month and figure out what's sustainable. And, yeah, try to hang out a little more. Well, thank you, brother. I do appreciate that. Miss seeing all your beautiful faces. I'm armed with a black and tan, so spirits are high. Let's see. You need glasses. No, that's not true. All very beautiful. Okay, so for tonight's game, let's see. Oh, it is 7. I can start. Okay. Dude, I cracked 3 cameras with my money. Nice. Well, I hope they were still within the return policy, so you can get your dough back, but I doubt it. I mean, I doubt you cracked your cameras with your mug. Not that I doubt you can get your money back in your return policy. And Diggs is here first. That is fair. You were here first. But yeah, so I'm going to try to do some of this goofy stuff. I'm going to try to do like one game stream a month and one DJ stream a month. Plus, if anybody throws me on a raid train, I'll do that too. So I'm going to try to come back and do some of those things. That's a blatant fair first redeem. I don't even think you had to squabble over that. But man, I'm glad you're here. This is going to be fun. Let's see. Is that the one I want? I'll do that one for now. So, good to see you. So tonight, I'm going to do a D&D campaign by myself. I'm going to play around with, Hey Timmy, what's happening? Good to see you. I'm going to play around with doing a D&D campaign by myself. I'm going to use Claude. I'm going to see if Claude can be the DM. I don't know if that's a good idea or if it'll work. I've never tried this before. But I just came up with this when I was mowing the lawn 6 hours ago. 6 hours ago? 4 hours ago? Something like that. Doesn't matter. When I was mowing the lawn. And so I'm going to... you've got controls for your channel points. So if you go down to the channel points section, Diggs claimed the first already, so you can't have that one. But you can control an in-game decision for 50 points, or you can... where's the other one? Oh, for 500, you can add a story detail. Those are going to be the two that are really going to pertain today. Hopefully, if this all goes well. So, I've created a Dungeons and Dragons character. I'm going to roll real honest to goodness dice, not, the real deal. I really have dice. The AI made me a character sheet. Better use all my 13,000 points. Yes, that's part of the plan. So I am totally up for you guys steering the narrative on this one. We're just gonna see where this thing goes. It could be a complete disaster and probably will. So I'm here for it. Alrighty. So I built a character already, so we can just jump in and play. I've come up with Ivan Stonewill, and he is a human fighter. Chaotic neutral, level 1. We're starting right at the beginning. I didn't even really look at his stats that much. I know his longsword is called the Arbiter of Consequence. So, yeah. So, and I have written no backstory for him. I just said, let's pick a guy and let's go for it. So, without further ado, let's dive into this thing. We're just going to let Claude lead the way here. I don't have any of this on screen. I'm terribly sorry. Hold on. It's my first day back. Give me a break. All right, here we go. Ivan Stonewill. Got a character sheet here going. He's got 12 hit points, armor class 18, hit dice, ability scores, skills, attacks. Here's an equipment inventory. Looks like chainmail, longsword, dungeoneer's pack, hammer, iron pittance, tinderbox, water skin, gold pieces, shield, hand axe, crowbar, torches, rations, hempen rope. And class features and proficiencies. Looks like he gets a second wind. His fighting style is dueling. And let's see here. Oh, dueling. So one-handed gives him +2 damage. Okay, that's good to keep in mind. There's the misses. The lovely, lovely misses. Welcome in. Right, so that's the character sheet, and here's Claude. And I think I have this set up so that... Let's test this out. I think I can just do like a text-to-speech thing. Let's give it a whirl. I think it was Windows H. Is that how it works? Okay, Claude, let's go. Stop dictating. Do I have to say stop dictating? Hey, maybe this doesn't work. Let's try it again. Hey, Claude, let's go. There, it works. The DM leans forward. The town of Brackenhollow sits at the edge of the road that leads somewhere nobody talks about anymore. It's Wednesday, or close enough. The rain arrived an hour ago and has made itself comfortable. Inside the Salted Flagon, the fire is doing its best. The tavern is the kind of place that has absorbed 20 years of spilled ale, pipe smoke, bad decisions into the walls. It smells accordingly. Probably a lot like this black and tan. A few locals occupy their corners, staring into their drinks with the focused dedication of professionals. Get some of that professionalism myself. Oh, Deeg says pitons are spikes used for climbing, by the way. Oh, very, very good to know. In case we need to climb something, that's going to come in handy. Behind the bar stands Marin. Broad shoulders, shaven head, scar across the chin that she has never once explained. I didn't realize that was a she. All right. She wipes the same spot of the bar she has been wiping for the last 10 minutes and does not look up when the door opens. But it does open. Rain and cold air announce you before you say a word. You're not a small man. The armor sees to that. Several pairs of eyes drift in your direction with a mild suspicion that Brackenhollow reserves for anyone it doesn't already allow. The fire crackles, some coughs. Marin continues wiping. You have coin enough to drink for a question or two. The road behind you is 3 days of mud. Yikes. Whatever you brought to Brackenhollow, you are here now. Ivan Stonewill, what do you do? Deegs has run his own campaign over here. He says, be right back, someone at the door. Let's see. I guess we better get a drink. Let's see. Oh, I was going to do the text-to-speech thing. Let's give it a whirl. Ivan walks over to the bar and says, I'll have a black and tan, please. I'm drinking a black and tan. It just sounded good. She regards you the way a woman regards a weather vane. Useful information, no particular feelings about it. Her eyes travel from your boots, which you are leaving a considerable amount of Brackenhollow's road upon her floor, up to your face, and then briefly to the sword at your hip, which is, she notes, engraved with something. She does not ask about the sword. She pulls two vessels from beneath the bar, a tankard that has seen better decades, and a second smaller vessel she uses to layer the pour. Well, she knows how to make a black and tan with the practiced economy of someone who has done this 10,000 times and will do it 10,000 times more. Dark ale settles beneath a pale foamy layer as a pale foamy layer crowns it. She sets it on the bar with the sound of like a gavel. 4 copper, she says. Wow, she's got a deep voice. I didn't realize that. 4 copper, she says. She's already looking down at the bar. The spot she was wiping has not improved. She wipes it anyway. Around you, the tavern continues its quiet business. A man by the window is losing at cards to himself. 2 women near the fire are speaking in low tones about something that stops when you walked in and has not resumed. A dog of considerable age and intermediate breed is asleep directly in the front of the hearth. Thank you. Archiving the single most comfortable position in the building. A drink is in front of you. Marin is waiting. What do you do? Let's try this out again. I hand over the 4 copper. Nope. 6 copper. Got to leave a tip, right? And say, where does someone find adventure around here? Marin looks at the 6 copper, then at you, and picks up the 6 copper, all 6, with smooth efficiency of someone who does not intend to discuss the tip, but has mentally noted it. She leans one broad forearm on the bar and for the first time gives you her full attention. This feels like something you have earned. Adventurer, she repeats. The word sits in her mouth like she's tasting it for the first time and isn't sure about it. She's quiet for a moment. The kind of quiet that means she's deciding how much you're worth telling. Depends on what kind of fool you are, she says, finally, and nods almost imperceptibly toward the far corner of the tavern. There, half in the shadow, and doing an impressive job of looking like part of the furniture, sits a figure in a traveling cloak, hood down, a woman, somewhere between 30 and had a difficult life. Or somewhere between 30 and had a difficult life. A rolled piece of parchment sits at the table in front of her next to an untouched drink. She has been watching the door all evening. She watched you come in. She's still watching you now. She's been nursing the drink for 2 hours, Marin says. Returning to her spot on the bar, asked me this morning if anyone interesting ever comes through here. Picks up a rag. Told her sometimes. I see the cops at my door more than the kids in. Oh my goodness, dude. We're not even being loud today. All right. I think we, I think we better mosey over and introduce ourselves, I suppose. Test. Is this working? I nod to Merritt and say, "Thank you very much," and then proceed over to the shadowy figure in the corner and say, "I've been looking for an adventure. Marin suggests I check in this corner of the bar." I don't know. Let's give it a whirl. More questions about that murder that happened. Holy smokes. I think you should take over. This is crazy. She has the eyes of someone that's been disappointed by a great many things and has made peace with that fact. They move across you efficiently. The armor, the sword, the engraving of the sword. She clocks immediately and does not comment on the residual road mud, the black and tan, and arrive at your face with the expression of something completing an inventory. A beat of silence passes. Then, almost despite herself, in the corner of her mouth moves. Marin said that, did she? It's not quite a question. She glances briefly at the bar where Marin is resolutely wiping and absolutely not looking over. High praise. She pulls out a chair across from her with her boot and leaves it there. An invitation, not a welcome. Invitation, not a welcome. There is a difference, and she seems like someone who knows it. Sit down then. She wraps both hands around her untouched drink. My name is Sera. I've got a job that needs doing and three very good reasons why I can't do it myself. She tilts her head slightly. You look like someone who doesn't ask too many questions. I mean that as a compliment, mostly. Outside, the rain intensifies briefly and then thinks better of it. The dog by the fire shifts, sighs, and then returns to its considerable slumber. Sera is waiting. What does Ivan do? We're going to have to get the rhythm down on this. Oh? Tell me more about this and the reasons why you can't handle it yourself. What sort of job do you have for me? I don't think that worked. Tell me more about this job and why you can't do it yourself. I'm interested, but I need more details. She leans forward and her voice drops, not dramatically, but practically. The voice of someone who has learned that certain conversations do not need an audience. There's a manor 3 leagues north of here. Belongs to a man named Aldric Voss. Merchant, respectable. Sits on the town council and donates to the temple. Very popular dinner parties. She says, popular at dinner parties, the way most people say, carries a communicable disease. Very nice. Okay. 6 weeks ago, something moved into the east wing of that manor. Aldric won't say what. Won't let anyone in. Dismissed his entire staff except one old groundskeeper who won't talk to anyone anymore and jumps at loud noises. She pauses. Louder than usual, I mean. He was already jumpy. She picks up her drink and sets it back down without drinking. Aldric has his ledger. Inside the ledger are names. One of the names is mine. She meets your eyes steady. I need that ledger. I need it quietly. I need it quickly. And I need what's in the east wing to stay whatever it currently is. Alive, dead, I generally don't care, as long as it stays there while someone retrieves what I need. She sits back. As for why I can't do it myself, Aldric knows my face. The fire pops. The dog doesn't even flinch. 3 reasons, she said. That was one. She's watching to see if you noticed. All right. Oops. All right. He knows your face. But why else do you need this hired out? Why not handle it yourself with precision? Seems like you could sneak in late at night and possibly take care of it yourself. Why me? She's quiet for a moment, and then it goes on long enough to be intentional. You're smarter than you look. She glances briefly at the engraved sword, or at least more observant. She turns her drink in a slow circle at the table. A habit. Someone Something to do with her hands while she decides. Second reason. She extends one finger. Whatever is in the east wing has already killed 2 people who went after it. I know this because I sent them. She says it without flinching. The admission of someone who has already possessed the guilt and filled it somewhere practical. Both capable, both careful. Neither came out. Second finger. Third reason. She pauses. This one is costing her something. You can see it moves across her face briefly, but before she puts it away. The groundskeeper, who won't talk to anyone anymore. She looks at the table. That's my father. The fire settles. Somewhere in the kitchen, something boils over, and someone swears quietly about it. She looks back up. I need someone who can walk through the front door, look like they belong there. Someone Aldric won't recognize. Someone who can handle whatever is in the east wing if it decides to introduce itself. Her eyes settle on you with something that might almost be hope, if hope were wearing armor and didn't show it. Someone who walked into the tavern tonight looking exactly for this conversation. I think we need to know what this pays. And where to start. Where can we find the manor? And if I'm able to produce this for you, what sort of compensation are we looking at? She reaches into her cloak and produces a small leather pouch without ceremony. Sets it on the table between you with a sound that's deeply, profoundly convincing. 40 gold up front. She places one finger on the top of the pouch, does not slide it across yet. 40 more when I have the ledger in my hands. And she reaches back into the cloak and produces something else entirely. A ring, a plain silver band, a small blue stone, nothing ostentatious. She sets it beside the pouch. This, which is worth considerably more than the gold, to the right buyer, and I will tell you exactly who the buyer is once the job is done. She removes her finger from the pouch. I'll also tell you what's in the east wing. She tilts her head. Everything I know about it anyway, which is not everything, but it's more than you currently have and more than those other 2 had when they currently went in. She folds her hands at the table. 40 gold up front, 40 gold back, a ring worth a merchant's ransom, and information that might keep you alive. She meets your eyes. I'd call that generous for a man who just walked in here 20 minutes ago looking for something to do on a rainy Wednesday. She's got a very good point. Outside, a distant roll of thunder makes good on a promise the sky has been making all evening. What does Ivan do? "3 leagues north," it said. Maybe it did. I very well may have missed that. What does Ivan do? All right. I mean, we're in, right? I think we're in. I'd say this seems like a fair wage. Tell me what's in that wing. Sera nods once, slowly, like a door closing on the part of the conversation where you could have walked away. She picks up her drink. Actually drinks this time. Sets it down and looks at the table for a moment as though organizing something that has something behind her eyes. 6 weeks ago, Aldric Voss purchased something at a private auction in the capital. I don't know what that is. I know what it wasn't, or what it isn't. She looks up. It isn't furniture. It isn't art. It isn't anything that belongs in a merchant manor in a town like Brackenhollow. She lowers her voice another degree. The 2 people I sent reported the same thing independently before they went in the second time and didn't come back. She pauses. Sound coming from behind the east wing door. Not voices, not animals. Another pause. Breathing. But slow. Very slow. The way something breathes when it's either nearly dead or completely aware that you are standing outside the door. She wraps both hands around a drink again. There are also lights. Wrong color. Wrong hour. The groundskeeper, my father, he told me one thing before we stopped talking altogether. Her jaw tightens slightly. He said, whatever Aldric brought home in that crate, she stops, looks at you directly. It looks back. The dog by the fire whimpers softly in its sleep. Nobody laughs about it. Ivan, what do you do? It is very spooky. It is indeed. Let's see. What can you tell me about the manor? Is there a good way to get in? Is there anything I should watch for? Should I disguise myself? What did the other 2 do? Sera looks at you with something approaching appreciation. The look of someone who has finally found a person who does their homework. She moves the drink aside and produces a folded piece of parchment from her cloak, spreads it on the table with both hands. A rough sketch done from memory, but done carefully. The hand of someone who paid attention. Manor sits on a low hill. Stone walls. 2 stories. The east wing is a later addition. You can tell from the different colored stone. Newer mortar. She traces the layout with one finger. Main gate faces south. Aldric keeps it latched, but not locked. Keeps it latched, but not locked. He's expecting a supply delivery sometime this week, which means he may not question a knock at the right hour. Interesting. She taps a spot of the sketch. Kitchen entrance is on the west side. My father used to leave it unbolted on cold nights so the cat could get in. Whether he still does, she hesitates, I don't know. He's not himself. She sits back. The other 2 went down through the ground floor window on the north face. Second attempt, they went straight for the east wing. Her expression doesn't change, but something behind it does. Don't do that. Get the ledger first. Aldric keeps it in his study on the second floor. The door at the top of the stairs smells like pipe smoke and regret. She folds the parchment and slides it across to you. As for your disguise, she looks up and down at you slowly. The armor, the sword, the general bearing of a man who considers himself historically significant. You are not, she says carefully, a subtle man. A beat leans into it. Aldric represents authority. Aldric respects authority he doesn't understand. Walk in like you own the building and he'll spend 20 minutes trying to figure out if he should already know who you are. She almost smiles again. The sword will help. Do you have a name? What does Ivan... Oh, the sword will help. Does it have a name? The sword does have a name. What is the sword's name again? Let's see. I was going to say, I am Ivan Stormwill. It doesn't matter. We need to know the sword's name. The Arbiter of Consequence. That's what it's called. My sword is called the Arbiter of Consequence. Sera stares at you. Beat passes, then another. Of course it is, she says. In a way, a person says something when they have decided that the universe is doing this to them on purpose, and they have elected to simply continue existing within it. She picks up her drink, finishes it, and sets the empty vessel down with a quiet finality of someone closing a chapter. The Arbiter of Consequence, she repeats it once to herself. Barely audible, not mockingly. More like she's cataloging it, feeling it somewhere in her mind under a heading she hasn't named yet. Across the room, Marin glances over just for a moment. The briefest flicker of eye contact with Sera. Something passes between them that has no words. Marin looks back down at the bar. Sera looks back at you. All right, Ivan Stonewill. She slides a 40 gold across the table. The ring follows. The manor is 3 leagues north. Supply road. You'll see the hill. I suggest tomorrow morning. Aldric takes breakfast at 9 and is agreeable for about an hour afterward before the day gets to him. She stands. She pulls a cloak tight, trying not to name anything else where... Try not to name anything else. Oh, she's making fun of the sword. Try not to name anything else while you're in there. She's leaving enough coin. She leaves enough coin for her untouched drink and walks out into the rain without looking back. The dog opens one eye, watches her go, and closes it again. You have a job, Ivan. What do you do now? I think we need a plan. So we should probably pull up some notes. All right, she said in the morning, right? So we'll have to try it in the morning. He's most agreeable to talk to then. And what is this fella's name called again? This is nice that I have notes I can scroll back through. Let's see. Aldric Voss. All right. Moved something into the east wing of the manor. But we need the ledger. What else do we need to know? You can ask AI to do a recap of the important information. That is a spectacular idea. I love it. Let's try it. Let's try this again. Claude, will you do a recap of the important information from that conversation? Session recap. The Salted Flagon. Job. Retrieved the ledger from Aldric Voss, a merchant in the town council, member of 3 leagues north of Brackenhollow. You were right, 3 leagues north. The ledger contains names. One of them is Sera's. The client Sera, the cloaked woman, sharp eyes, hard history. Hired 2 people before you. Neither came back. She can't go herself because Aldric knows her face. The groundskeeper is her father. Something has happened to him, and he no longer speaks. I missed that part. I did not realize he was not a speaking person. I'm glad you rubbed both of those brain cells together, Deegs, because I didn't either. All right. So he no longer speaks. I completely missed that. 40 gold up front. Already in Ivan's pocket. 40 gold on delivery of the ledger. So we just need the ledger, right? Worth considerably more than the gold to the right buyer. Sire will identify the buyer when the job is done. 3 leagues north. The manor sits on a low hill. Stone walls, 2 stories. The east wing is newer construction. Different colored stone. Main gate faces south. Latched but not locked. So we could sneak in. But we're not exceptionally sneaky. So she suggested that we just barge in like I own the place, I think, if I remember correctly. Maybe the kitchen's west entrance may be unbolted. Aldric's study is on the 2nd floor. The door at the top of the stairs. Smells like pipe smoke and regret. So east wing. 2 people sent in, never returned. So, okay, so we need to get to the 2nd floor to the door at the top of the stairs, if I'm not mistaken. That's what we're looking for here. So we need a reason to be there, and we need to get reason to be there, floor, and door at the top of the stairs. Is where the ledger is located. Okay. East wing's acting crazy because of whatever's there. Wrong color lights at the wrong hours. Aldric purchased something in private auction in the capital 6 weeks ago. Came in a crate. It looks back. Whatever that means. Get the ledger first. Don't sneak. Walk in with authority. Aldric respects power that he doesn't understand. Oh, so maybe we could like sneak in as some sort of like antiques dealer or something. Like let's see. Yeah, we could sneak in. Let's see. So we could sneak in as an antique dealer and maybe just tell them we had like word that there was a fine collection here that we should take a look at. And that he's well renowned for his fine collection. Aldric. I probably need to know this guy's name. And so we're an antiques dealer, and we're gonna talk to Aldric Voss about his antiques. We heard he had a fine collection. We were hoping to get a look around. Yeah, do this in the morning. So, but I think we better get some rest first. Maybe this is a bad idea. But we're gonna find out. Let's see. Um, we're gonna give it a whirl. I think we need a rest. Let's see what Deeg say. All right, yes, it said best in the morning because he is good and worse later when the day gets to him. Okay, that's yeah. All right, so let's take a nap. Ivan walks back over to Marin and asks, "Where's one find a decent night's sleep around here?" She looks up at you, glances once at the corner where Sera is sitting back at you. Whatever the conclusion she draws, she keeps entirely to herself. "Got 2 rooms upstairs," she says. "One's got a window that latches, one doesn't." She sets down the rag and folds her arm. "Window room is 6 copper, other is 4. She looks at the engraved sword with the same expression that she has given everything else this evening. A complete abstain of opinion. "Breakfast is included, eggs and bread. Sometimes bacon if Podwick remembered to go to the butcher, which," she glances towards the kitchen and where something is faintly smoldering, "is not a guarantee." She reaches under the bar and produces 2 keys on a wooden fob, then holds them both up with the patience of someone who will stand here all night if required. "Room at the top of the stairs or the room at the end of the hall?" "End of the hall is quieter." Wall backs up against the stable. "Occasionally you hear the horses." She considers us. "Better than the alternative, which is Podwick's brothers who are in the room atop the stairs, which will play cards until dawn if history is any indication." Sounds like I'd rather have the room over by the horses, I suppose. Marin nods, produces exactly no reaction to this information. She nods. She then sets the key on the bar and sweeps the first back underneath in one practice motion. 6 copper, she waits. When the coin is produced, she takes it with the same economy as everything, efficiently, without ceremony, slides the key across the bar towards the end of the hall. Door sticks in the rain, so lift and push at the same time, and you'll be standing there looking foolish. She picks up her rag. "Bucket in the corner if the roof goes." "It won't. Probably." Then she looks one final time at your expression, completing the transaction. "Manor Road North has a bad rut about it, about a league out. Left side. Goes all the way to the axle if you're not watching." A pause. "Didn't say that." She goes back to the bar. Spot remains unchanged. She wipes anyway. Upwards, Pickwick's brothers burst into an argument about something that sounds card-related and deeply personal. The dog at the fire doesn't move. The key in your hand, the room at the end of the hall. Tomorrow, the manor awaits, 3 leagues north, with something in its east wing that looks back. Ivan Stonewill. It's been a productive raining West day. The DM suggests a short rest. Shall we skip to morning? I think so. What do you guys think? I think we will. Yes. So I got a yes from the missus. D says, I say tip the bar lady, get some sleep. You know, it's not a bad idea. You know what? We got a bunch of dough. Yeah, we don't need to throw it around, though. Well, you know what? Let's give her a tip, though. I always tip the bar people. They got info. That's true. Okay, yeah, let's throw her gold. What the hell? We got 40 of them, right? Ivan tosses Marin a single gold piece and says, thank you for the info. See that I'm not bothered. And wanders up the stairs and enters the room down by the horses. Let's resume for we'll pick up with a short rest and the next morning. Please. Claude. I accidentally called it Clyde. We'll see what happens. Marion catches the gold piece without looking, holds it up briefly, sets it under the bar. Sleep well. The room is small and honest. The bed a bed that has held worse men, a candle that burns without complaint, and through a thin wall of occasional shift beneath the horses doing what horses do at night, which is stand around being large and thinking about hay. That tracks. The rain is on the roof and steady and even, and the kind of rain that has no agenda. Oh, Ivan Stonewill, fighter, sets the Arbiter of Consequence against the wall where he can see it, removes his boots, lies down in his armor because he's that kind of man. Stares at the ceiling for a moment with the quiet dignity of somebody mentally preparing for a speech nobody has requested. He is asleep within 4 minutes. Morning arrives gray, clean. The rain has moved on. Through the window, Brackenhollow looks freshly washed, faintly embarrassed about it. Downstairs, something is frying, and Podwick apparently remembered the butcher. Bacon. I like bacon. The road north is waiting. 3 leagues, Manor Hill. A ledger with a name on it, and an east wing that breathes. And something that looks back. Ivan Stonewill, it is morning. You have 40 gold, a map, a ring, and a job. What do you do? I get rid of this best viewers first time chat. This is frightfully annoying. Maybe somebody can handle that for me. Let's see. There we go. Haven't had to do that in a while. All right. Let's get breakfast, right? Ivan Stonewill collects his things and wanders downstairs, finds Marin and says, 1 breakfast, please. Marin's already putting a plate before you finish the sentence. She has the look of someone who has been up since before the town remembered, and it was before the town remembered it was the town. The kitchen behind her is producing honest smells, wood smoke, bacon fat, bread that cannot quite That bread that is not quite done, but is committed to getting there. The plate lands in front of you. The bar, front of you at the bar with confidence of a woman who knows her breakfast is good and doesn't need you to say so. Eggs, bacon, 2 thick cuts of bread with butter that has softened just enough. A small clay mug full of something hot and dark. That's not quite coffee, but is doing its best impression. It's a serious breakfast, a breakfast that respects what you might be walking into. Marin pours herself a small cup of the same dark liquid and leans against the back counter of the tavern. Is empty this early. Just 2 of you, the dog, who has migrated from the hearth to directly beneath your stool with the patience of a professional. She doesn't say anything for a moment, just drinks. Then, without looking at you, whatever is Sera sending you after, she wraps both hands around her cup. The 2 before you were good people. She leaves that there. Doesn't dress it up, doesn't take it back. The bacon is excellent, and Podwick remembered the butcher. Ivan eats. The road north is waiting. What does he do? We probably should, sounds like she's probably got some good information for us. I'm eager to know about the 2 that went before me. Sounds like you might have known them. Marin is quiet for a moment, long enough than you think she might answer and all, might not answer at all. She refills your dark cup without being asked, sets it down, looks at it. Didn't know them well, she says finally. Nobody does. Did? She corrects herself without flinching, but the correction costs something small. Came through here, same as you, sat where you're sitting, ate what you're eating. She picks up her cup. The first woman, ranger type, quiet, asked good questions, listened to the answers, which in my experience is rarer than it should be. A pause. Came back from the first visit to the manor looking like she'd seen something that rearranged her opinions about the world. Went back in 2 days later. Then she stops. Didn't come back from that one. The dog shifts under your stool. Second one, a young man. Couldn't have been more than 20 winters. Talked too much. Reminded me of my nephew. Something moves across her face briefly. He lasted 1 visit. Just the one. She sets her cup down. Looks directly at you for the first time in the morning. Really looks. They were both better at being subtle than you are. She glances at the Arbiter of Consequences, Arbiter of Consequence resting against the bar. Maybe that's the problem with subtle. She picks up her egg. Eat your eggs. Eat your eggs, Ivan Stonewill. They're better hot. You know what? I don't look like an antiques dealer. Do I? Huh. You know what? I got to take 2. Let's think about that. What do we want to look like? Or how can we make this better? Well, give me a second. We'll come back. All right. Let's see. Ask where you can get some plain clothes. You look like a dealer, just maybe not for antiques. Okay, fair. I swear some things tell me that dog is going to be part of this story. It gets mentioned too often while you get valuable information. That is a good point. Do we need a doggo companion? What's this guy's name again? Hold on a second. Does Aldric Voss need a protector of the thing he just bought? I mean, clearly whatever he got is expensive, but it also seems to be protecting itself. So, I just trust animals over people. Okay, so how do we incorporate the dog then? Maybe should we just ask about the dog? Should we ask Marin about the dog? Should we give him a piece of bacon? Yeah, I think we're on the right page here. I just give it a treat and let it be for now. Okay, all right. Let's start with that. It literally wrote, let's start with that. I'm not used to this text-to-speech stuff. Ivan looks down at his breakfast, continuing to eat, and tears off a small half piece of bacon and reaches down below the bar stool and hands it to the shaggy dog sitting below. The dog takes it with solemn dignity, as of an animal that has been waiting its entire life for this exact moment and knew it would come eventually.
Sorry, I don't think I had enough harps in your half-open beer. Here, finish that first, then I'll pour you a real one.
I got another pub ale. Thanks to the missus.
Yeah, the bar wench didn't do a good job on that black.
Marin watches the exchange. Oh, wait, no. He chews it once, twice, swallows, and sits back and looks up at you with large, patient eyes of a creature who has decided you are probably one of the good ones. Marin watches this exchange. Something in her face shifts, barely perceivable. The door, like a door opening an inch in a house you thought was empty. His name's Brom, she says quietly. She says quietly, like it isn't information she gives out freely. He belonged to the ranger. Left him. Oh, he belonged to the ranger. Left him here when she went back in the second time. Figured she'd be back for him. She picks up your empty plate without asking if you're done. He sits under that stool every morning. She turns towards the kitchen. That's her stool. She disappears through the kitchen door. The sound of dishes, nothing else. Brom pushes his large gray chin against your knee, exhales slowly with his nose. A warm, heavy, uncomplicated weight. Simplest thing that has happened since you've arrived in Brackenhollow. Outside the road north, in this quiet morning light, 3 leagues, a hill, a manor, a ledger, an east wing, something that looks back. And now apparently a dog with sad eyes. And nowhere particular to be. What does Ivan do? Just saying, my stoner senses are tingling over the dog. Should we take the dog? He might lead us to his owner if she's still there. His name, let's see. When she went back the second time, does that mean the dog went initially? Like, if we bring the dog up there and he's been there before, that might give us away. Or maybe she didn't take the dog either time either, though. So, could go either direction. It might help. It might help. I mean, we might find where we're supposed to be through the dog. Should we take the dog? I kind of want to take the dog. I would. Diggs is, yeah, so we'll take the dog. So let's see. We're going to show up at this guy's door with a dog who isn't exactly a guard dog. And do we just wing it? We just see what this brings? Do we tell him we're, like, I'm leaning towards we tell him that we're there to protect his recent purchase. Where did he get the auction? Where was the auction? The auction was in... The auction was in, like, the town square or something. We could pose as mercenaries or hunters. Mercenaries? Yeah, I like mercenaries. Mercenaries guard things, right? Maybe we can tell him that we are mercenaries looking for work, and we had just received word that he had made a large purchase that might need defending. Yes? They do whatever they're paid for. Yes. Okay. I think that tracks. And we'll bring the dog. Ivan looks back at Marin and says, "Do you mind if we bring him with us?" The kitchen goes quiet. A beat passes. Marin appears back in the doorway, one dish in hand, rag in the other. She looks at you, then Brom, then at you again. Brom's tail moves twice, slowly, like he understood the question and is trying to not appear too invested in the answer. Marin looks at the dog for a moment. The kind of look that contains the entire conversation that nobody in the room is having aloud. She sets the dish down. "He knows the road north," she says finally. "He went with her both times." "Oh, he did go with her." She folds the rag over her shoulder with the deliberate care of someone doing something with their hands. They don't have something to do with her. Okay. Came back both times. All right. So he knows the road, and he's been there before. He doesn't like the East Wing. A pause. I'd take that seriously if I were you. She disappears back into the kitchen. Then from behind the door, without ceremony, without sentiment, the voice of a woman who already moved on to the next task. Bring him back. Brom slides off your knee, then stands up, stretches legs, front legs forward with great seriousness, looks at the door, looks at you, tail moves again. He is ready before you are. Ivan Stonewill, fighter, Brom dog. The road north awaits. What will you do? And he's the only survivor you know of. That is a good point. All right. Let's take the dog. Ivan reaches up for the last piece of bacon off of his plate and hands it down to Brom and says, "Do you know the way, boy?" Brom takes the bacon, chews it twice with great authority, then walks directly over to the tavern door and sits in front of it and looks back at you over his shoulder with the calm, patient expression of a dog who has been waiting for someone competent to show up and is reserving judgment on whether you qualify. The door is there. He knows the way. He has always known the way. Behind you, Marin says nothing. You can hear her moving in the kitchen, dishes, water, the ordinary sounds of a woman who has already said everything she intends to say and means all of it. Outside through the tavern window, Brackenhollow is going about its morning. A cart, two men arguing about something agricultural, a child running for reasons known only to children. The sky is pale and clear, and the road north stretches out of town between low hedges, still wet from the night's rain.
Just your face is visible on the stream. The story, we can't see the story page anymore.
Let's see. It's been brought to my attention that it's just me on screen talking, which I guess is fine, but I will give you the story too, because you should be able to read along with me. There we go. Sorry. Outside through the tavern window, Brackenhollow is going about its morning. A cart, two men arguing about something agricultural, a child running for reasons only known to children. A sky is pale, clear, and the road north stretches out of town between low hedgerows, still wet from the night's rain. 3 leagues, a hill. A manor with sturdy that smells like pipe smoke and regret, and a ledger and a name within it. An east wing that breathes in. Brom's tail moves twice, stops. He conserves enthusiasm for the road. The Arbiter of Consequence is at your hip. You have 40 gold, a map, a ring, a dog. And the kind of morning that becomes a story later. Ivan Stonewill, the door is there. What will you do? Bacon strips! It's bacon! I think we moved down the road with the dog. Ivan looks at the dog and says, "All right then, let's go, boy." And opens the door and lets Brom out the door and follows quickly behind him. Brom doesn't wait. He moves through the door, turns north without hesitation. No sniffing around, no investigating the cart, no interest in the two men arguing about turnips. He simply points himself up the road like a compass finding north and walks with the quiet purpose of an animal that has made the journey before. It has feelings about how it ended. He glanced back, wants to confirm you're there. You are. He continues. Brackenhollow falls away behind you gradually, the way small towns do. First the buildings thin out, then the small smell of wood smoke, then people, and the sound of the cart and the agricultural argument, and then just the two of you, and the road and the hedgerows, and the wet morning smell of the world that rained last night and doesn't regret it. Brom walks at your left heel without being asked, close enough to be companionable, far enough to be professional. The road is quiet. The sky holds somewhere in the field to the east. A crow makes its opinions known and thinks better of it. 1 league passes. Then most of another. Then Brom slows. Not stops, just slows, ears forward, nose working. His whole body shifts from walking dog to something older, something more serious than walking dog. Ahead of you, a break in the hedgerow. The road curves left. Marin mentioned a rut, the left side. Goes all the way to the axle. But that's not why Brom slowed. What does Ivan do? Ooh. So they made mention of this. Ivan remembers the rut that was mentioned. Takes a look around. What does he see? Ivan steps to the side of the road instinctively. The rut is left exactly as advertised. Dark, ugly wound in the road that would swallow a wagon wheel without apology. But that's not the thing. You stop, you look around properly, the way a man looks around when a dog tells him to. The hedgerow to the left has a gap in it, recent. Brackens bent onward, or outward, not inward, which means something came through from the field side onto the road, not a deer. The brakes are too high, too wide. The mud at the gap's edge holds a partial boot print, large, filled partially with last night's rain, but not completely, which means it was made this morning, after the rain stopped. Someone stood there recently, watching the road. Brom hasn't growled. That's worth noting. Whatever came through the gap, he doesn't consider a threat exactly, but he stopped, ears forward, nose reading as if something in the air you don't have the equipment to read yourself. 50 yards ahead, the road curves beyond the curve and is visible over the tree line sits. It is visible over the tree line sits a manor on a low hill. Different colored stone than the east wing, exactly as Sera described. A thin line of smoke from the chimney that isn't the kitchen, east wing chimney. Something in there is warm. Brom looks at the boot print, then looks at you, then looks at the manor. His tail is completely still. What does Ivan do? Ooh. So we got a hedge that's been plowed through. I think I'd like to inspect the hedge. Good instinct. Roll an investigation check. So whatever you roll, the D20, subtract 1 from it. Okay, D20. We get to roll. I rolled a 16, so -1 is a 15. Let's see. Not bad. The gap gives up what it knows. You crouch at the headrow and look properly. The branches aren't just bent. Several are snapped clean. Something came through in a hurry, or something large enough that hurrying and moving carefully produce the same result. The boot print, as you saw on the road, is one of 3. 2 coming from the field, 1 coming from the back. Whoever it was came to the road, stood, and returned the way they came. The stride is long, unhurried on the return. They saw what they came to see and left satisfied. The mud was at the base of the hedge. The mud at the base of the hedge. In the mud at the base of the hedge, something else. Small, easy to miss, a piece of dark fabric caught on a broken branch at hip height. Wool, good quality, not a farmer, not a laborer. Someone who could afford better than they were wearing. You look across the field in the direction the print leads back. Flat ground, stone wall far at the edge, maybe 200 yards out. Nothing moving, no figure. Whoever it was had plenty of time to be gone. Brom sniffs the fabric on the branch once, carefully flies it away somewhere in whatever system. Files it somewhere away in whatever system dogs use for such things. He looks up at you. He has smelled this before, is your strong impression. The manor continues its thin line of smoke, the pale sky. What does Ivan do? Not nat 1 for the win. Yeah, I'm sure I'll have plenty of nat 1s. We don't have to jinx it. Let's, shall we continue on? Remember, feel free to interject with the channel points. You can add stuff to the story. Use that as you see fit. Let's see. Let's continue to the manor. I have the ideas in D&D of my dice. Rolling skills are horrible, though. I'm not sure it's a skill. I think you just get what you get. We'll see. Let's head to the manor. Brom falls back into step that you hear. The fabric stays on the branch. The road curves towards the manor, reveals itself properly for the first time. Sera's sketch was accurate, but the sketches don't carry weight. The building does. 2 stories, gray stone, sitting on the hill. Quiet authority of something that has been here longer than anyone currently alive and intends to remain. The main gate faces south, exactly as described. Iron latched, a gravel path beyond it leads to the front entrance. The east wing is obvious once you know to look. Newer stone, lightly colored. Hasty addition or an ambitious one. A single window on the ground floor is shuttered from the inside. The chimney above it exhales thin smoke with complete confidence in your arrival. The grounds are tidy, almost aggressively so. Raked gravel, trimmed hedges, and the kind of maintenance that has happened because someone needs something to do with their hands and their hours. At the far edge of the grounds, near the small outbuilding, is an old man is mowing. Not mowing. He's moving slowly. Do they even mow back then? Is moving slowly with a rake. He hasn't looked up. He has been raking the same small area since you've arrived, probably. The groundskeeper. Sera's father. Brom sees him. Goes very still. A small sound in his throat that isn't quite a whimper. The front gate is 15 feet ahead. What does Ivan do? They told us to just go in through the front gate, right? Um, Bro, I hate to do this because wait, where's it? No worries, man. Go ahead, have supper. It's absolutely cool. I'm glad you popped in for as long as you did. But it's been fun hanging, man. No worries. We all got lives. I get it. I'll upload the stream somewhere too, so we can carry on. I'll probably do this a few times. This is fun so far. This is a fun idea, though. Oh, thanks for saying so. I hope we continue because it's I'm already having fun doing it. So, but we'll see you soon, man. Say hi to everybody for me, and we'll catch up soon. So, what does Ivan do? Ivan continues up to the front gate and knocks. Do you knock at a gate? I guess you knock at a gate. You can even make Claude do the talking, by the way. We might have to play with that. That'll be fun. I don't mind reading, though. It kind of gives me a little practice being on a microphone again, and it's probably really good for like my public speaking job I have. So I'm kind of enjoying it. So it says, the sound of the knocker, iron against iron, travels across the grounds with the clarity of the cold morning air. The old man with rake stops. He doesn't look up, just stops, rake completely still, listening. A long moment passes, then footsteps from inside. Measured, the footsteps of someone who is not hurrying because hurrying would imply that the door controls them rather than the other way around. The door opens. The man stands at the entrance, 50 or thereabouts, and is dressed in the way of someone who considers appearance a professional obligation. Silver at his temples, a face that has spent a considerable time arranging itself into an expression of mild, pleasant authority, and has gotten very good at it. He looks at you, the armor, the Arbiter of Consequence, at Brom, who looks back at him with large city eyes with no particular warmth. Something moves behind Aldric Voss's pleasant expression. Quick, gone before you can name it. He smiles. Good morning. Smooth, practiced. A voice of a man who sits on councils and attends dinner parties. I don't believe we've had the pleasure. I wasn't expecting he glances back at the sword, a visitor of your particular. He stops, collects himself. How can I help you? What does Ivan do? I understand that you've made a large purchase recently, and large purchases don't usually go without trouble. I was wondering if you might need the help of someone to protect it. I also happen to be very interested in antiquities and protecting them. You could say I have a proficiency and history of protecting such items that you may find useful. That belongs in a museum. So do you. Oh, I don't want to type that belongs in a museum. So do you. Oh, this is a disaster. It's been taking down everything. Let's see what he says. Aldric Voss looks at you for a long moment. The smile stays exactly where he put it. That's the tell. A man genuinely at ease adjusts his smile, lets it move. Aldric's smile is load-bearing. It's holding something up. His eyes move across at you again. Slower this time, more deliberate. Assesses the assessment of a man who has spent his life calculating the value of things standing in front of him. The armor, the bearing, the sword with its engraving which he reads. You can see him read it, and which produces a single slow blink and nothing else. Then he looks at Brom. Brom looks back. Something in Aldric's carefully arranged smile makes a small, involuntary movement. The smile doesn't waver, but the eyes do, just for a moment. Just enough. He knows the dog. I knew he'd know the dog. Ivana Jones. He recovers smoothly, professionally, the way a man recovers who has spent decades in rooms where showing your hand costs you money. Antiquities, he repeats. The word pleasantly, tasting it. That's an interesting word to use. He tilts his head slightly. I'm not sure what purchase you might be referring to. I am a merchant. I make purchases regularly. It's rather the nature of the enterprise. He steps back at the door just slightly, not closing it, but opening it wider. But where are my manners? You come a long way by the look of you. His eyes flick to the road behind you briefly. Come in, have some tea. Tell me more about these antiquities you protect. What do you do? Oh boy. I think we go in for tea. You know what? Give me a pause, and we'll be right back. Just going to take 2-3 minutes here, something like that. So, be right back. And back. All right, let's see what Alvin. Let's see what Ivan does. Let's see. Here we go. What does Ivan do? Come in, have some tea. Tell me more about these antiquities you protect. Well, I would say that we follow him in for tea. Let's see. For TEA. There we go. I am known as Myron Thornfellow. I'm with a group of mercenaries that protects antiques, things of high value, and other things sold at auction, and I had been sent forth to give aid if it is needed. I would love a tea, says Ivan, right? Then he'll follow with that bit. And follows him in. Aldric holds the door. We're walking in through it. Myron Thorn, a fake name produced on the spot, will, with full confidence of a man who sees no potential complications with this plan. The interior of the manor is exactly what the exterior promised. Dark wood, good rugs, the accumulated weight of tasteful money spending tastefully. A grandfather clock in the hallway marks the hour with quiet authority. Paintings on the walls, landscapes mostly. Nothing looks back. Aldrich leads you down on the hall towards the sitting room. His footsteps are even, unhurried. The walk of a man giving himself time to think while appearing to simply walk. Myron Thorn, he says pleasantly, turning into the sitting room. Which organization did you say sent you? I want to make sure I thank them appropriately. The sitting room was warm, 2 chairs by the fire that have been going since early morning. A small table, a tea service already laid out, which is interesting because you knocked unannounced. He gestures. Oh, that's probably who was looking down the road. He gestures the chair across from his with the grace of a man who has done this 10,000 times. Brom enters the room immediately and starts facing the hallway that leads deeper into the house, ears forward, completely still, towards the east wing. Aldrich watches the dog, sets a smile back in place. Milk, he says? Sugar? Thank you, but no. I take mine straight up. We are but a small group of mercenaries that work in conjunction with the auction house that handles such large and expensive items, lots, and antiquities. Although we are a small group, we can offer many different guards depending on your situation. It looks like you're a man of fine taste, judging from the small walk that we've had from the door to here. Aldric pours your tea with a steady hand of a man who's learned long ago not to let his hand betray him. How kind, he says. The compliment lands. Hold on, it's typing all kinds of stuff for me. How kind, he says. The compliment lands, and he receives it in the way a man receives compliments that he's heard many times, graciously, effectively, and without being moved by them. He settles into his chair, cross-legged one over the other, holds his cup with both hands. The auction house, he says pleasantly. Which one specifically? There are several that I deal with, and I want to make sure that I'm placing you correctly. He sips his tea. His eyes are doing something different than his voice. His voice is having a pleasant morning conversation, and his eyes are working, moving between you and Brom in the hallway and beyond, back to you with your careful triangulation of a man who is very good at appearing not to be doing exactly what he's doing. The grandfather clock ticks in the hall. Somewhere deeper in the house, far away, muffled, barely there, a sound, low, rhythmic, like the breathing, but slower breathing that should be. Aldric hears it too. You can tell because he doesn't react at all, which is your own reaction entirely. He smiles over his teacup. You were saying about your organization? All right. I don't remember which auction house that was. Claude, can you please let me know where that auction was held? Let's see if it'll tell me. Sera mentioned the private auction was held in the capital, or the auction house specifically. The details stayed locked behind what she didn't know, which works beautifully right in your favor because Ivan doesn't know either, and neither does Myron Thorne, mercenary antiquities protector, which is the problem sitting across from a man who absolutely does know. This is a deception moment. Aldric, just asked you a very specific question and is watching your face very carefully while pretending to enjoy his tea. Roll me a deception check. Charisma modifier +2. That's great because we're about to get found out, I'm pretty sure. Roll me a deception check. What do I roll? Or which one do I roll? D20. All right. And add +2. All right. Here we go. $14 + 2 is a 16. Not bad. Myron Thorne holds his ground. You take a slow sip of your tea, sets the cup down on hurried deliberateness of a man who finds the question mildly beneath him. I'm afraid the specific auction house isn't something I'm I'm not at liberty to disclose, you say pleasantly. Confidentiality is rather the cornerstone of our operation. I'm sure a man of your discretion understands that completely. Your eyes meet his, the full unblinking confidence of someone who has absolutely nothing to hide and has never heard of Ivan Stonewill. Aldrich looks at you. You look at Aldrich. The clock ticks. Then he smiles wider than before. The smile of a man who has just made a decision about something. Of course, he says smoothly. Forgive me. Professional discretion. I respect that enormously. He sets his cup down. You know, I think that I may indeed have some use for a man of your particular, he glances at the Arbiter of Consequence, capabilities. He leans forward slightly. Tell me, Mr. Thorne, how do you feel about working nights? From the east wing, there is a slow breathing sound that comes again, barely there. Brom doesn't move a muscle. Ivan, what do you do? I thought you were saying Myron Florin, Stan's favorite polka artist. I'm not saying I didn't get that name from there. I needed a name on the spot, and it was kind of the only one I could think of. I did call him Myron Thorin. Let's polka. What does Ivan do? Well, let's see here. Well, perhaps you could tell me a little more about the particulars of the job. What sorts of let's see. Particulars of the job.
I was going to make you a black and
Stop that there. Sorry, I'm getting a refill. Well, perhaps you could tell me more about the particulars of the job. That's good enough, right? Aldrich sits back, steeples his fingers in the posture of a man organizing a story. Well, it's really quite straightforward, he says, in the tone of a man describing something that is not remotely straightforward. I have an acquisition. Recent, significant, something I intend to resell at considerable profit to a buyer in the capital once certain. He pauses. Arrangements are finalized. He picks up his cup, sets it back down without drinking. In the meantime, it requires monitoring. The manor is not as secure as I would like, and the manor is not as secure as I would like, and the item is, another pause, chooses his words as a man, chooses his footing on uncertain ground, sensitive to interference. It responds poorly to people who don't know how to conduct themselves about it. He says, he responds poorly in a voice. He says, responds poorly in a voice that has done considerable work to sound casual. My previous security arrangements proved a breath inadequate. He straightens his cuff. I need someone stationed in the east corridor. Nights primarily, to ensure nobody enters the wing, and the occupant remains... He stops, looks directly for the first time since you sat down. Comfortable. He finishes quietly. The word sits at the table between you and something. The word sits on the table between you like something dropped accidentally. the wing's occupant. Brom exhales slowly through the nose. What do you do? Ooh. So we're getting put in the same position as the last two that stood there. It's very interesting. What do we do? I'd kind of like to get just a feel for the layout of this place a little better too. As a good mercenary would, I'd like to see the layout of the place that I'll be guarding a little better. I'd like to know the ins and outs, the who's, the what's, the where's, the when's, the how's, and that way I know what I'm guarding, who I'm guarding against, and just the details of what the job entails. Aldric is quiet for just a moment too long. The smile doesn't leave, but recalculates. You can almost hear it doing so. Naturally, he says. Due diligence, exactly what I expected from a professional. He stands, smooth in his jacket with both hands. The gesture is a gesture that is partially tidiness and partially buying time. I can show you the grounds, the main house, the entry points, the corridors. He moves towards the door with a deliberate energy of a man controlling the tour. The staff entrance, the kitchen, the upper hall. He is listing everything he intends to show you. He is notably not listing the east wing. He gestures for you to follow and moves into the hallway, past the grandfather clock, past the landscapes that don't look back, towards the rear of the house where the morning light comes through the window overlooking the grounds. Through the window, you can see the groundskeeper, still in the same spot, still raking, still not looking up, a small hunched figure moving in a pattern that stopped making sense a long time ago. Aldric doesn't look at the window. The house has 40 entry points. He begins, slipping into a practice cadence of a man on comfortable ground. The front gate, which you have seen. The kitchen entrance at the west side. The cellar doors on the north face, and he stops. You have both stopped because Brom is not following. Brom is sitting at the entrance of the east corridor, looking back at you, completely still. Aldric looks at the dog, looks at you, looks at the dog again. Remarkable animal, he says carefully. Is he yours? Actually, I've known him just a little longer than you have. Found the poor chap sitting beside my breakfast this morning. Fed him a piece of bacon. Thought he'd make a great companion. He's been a good traveler and someone to talk to. He's been a good traveler and takes the place of someone to talk to. Aldric looks at the dog for a long moment. Something behind his pleasant expression moves, deep like something shifting in the bottom of water. Is that so? He says quietly. Not a question. Words of a man receiving information and very carefully not reacting to it. Then he looks at Brom. Brom looks at the east corridor. The dynamic between the two is not lost on Aldric Voss, and it is not lost on you that it is not lost on him. The clock ticks somewhere. He looks back at you with a full reconstructed smile and the eyes that never quite match it. Brackenhollow is a small town, he says presently. I imagine the Salted Flagon was where your point of entry. Marin runs a fine establishment, he says. Marin with the name of careful neutrality of someone pronouncing a word of a language they'd rather not speak. Good breakfast, I'm told. He's telling you what he knows. He's telling you that he knows that where you slept and where you ate and where you poured your tea this morning. He's telling you this casually over his shoulder and resuming the tour as though none of it means anything at all. A kitchen entrance is down there, he continues, west facing as I mentioned. Keep it latched after sundown. Brom finally follows reluctantly. He stays between you and the east corridor entryway. What do? Beauty and the Beast. Do not go in the east wing. Let's see here. Could you tell me a little more about the pay, the hours, what I'll be guarding, where I'll be stationed, your expectations? I'd hate to fall short. Aldrich pauses in the kitchen entrance, turns to your face fully. The tour stops. This is a different kind of conversation, and you both know it. He folds his hands down in front of him, the posture of a man moving from a pleasant to transactional. 20 gold a week, he says. Paid at the end of each week. Accommodation provided. There's a room off the main corridor that will suit. Meals included. Podwick doesn't cook, but he procures adequately. He glances at Brom briefly. The dog is welcome to stay. Podwick, isn't that the same? Does Podwick come here too? Interesting. Then he moves to the window, looks out at the grounds. The old man still raking, still in the same patch. Your station would be the east corridor, specifically the hallway. It's outside the east wing door. Sundown to sunrise, he pauses. Days are your own. He turns back. My expectations are simple, Mr. Thorne. Nobody enters that wing. Nobody. He lets that sit for a moment. Not the groundskeeper, not any visitor, not yourself. His eyes are very steady. Whatever you hear from behind that door, and whatever you will hear things, you are to note them and report them back to me in the morning. Nothing more, nothing less. The previous men in the position made the mistake of letting their curiosity outweigh their professional judgment. He says men when Sera told you there was a woman. He doesn't know or doesn't care to remember correctly. What does Ivan do? Interesting. Seems we're being stationed at that exact spot. What do you say? 20 gold a week? Is that right? Getting paid. 20 gold a week. That's what he said. Ask for more money. Are you gonna spend the channel points on it, or I don't know. You could make me ask for more money. It's really not that expensive. Let's see. No, it's okay. That's just what your wife would do. Would ask for more money. She would ask for more money. You know what? In fairness, though, we are getting room and board. He said the dog could stay. I feel like this is a fair assessment. But you could make me ask for more money. I mean, that option's there. There's all kinds of things we can do. Let's see. The pay is fair and the accommodations are seemingly agreeable. May I see them? Aldric nods once, crisp, the nod of a man closing a negotiation. Of course. He leads you back through the kitchen corridor, past the grandfather clock, up the staircase. The stairs are solid, no creak, good construction. Upper hall runs the length of the main house. The four doors on the left, 2 on the right, and at the far end, a door that is indifferent from the other. Heavier, older than the rest of the hall by the look of it. Iron hinges instead of brass. No handle on this side. Just a large iron bolt thrown across it from the hallway. Bolted from the outside to keep something in. Aldric doesn't look at it, doesn't acknowledge it, walks past it with the practiced ease of a man who has decided that the door is simply not part of the architecture. He stops on the second floor on the right, produces a key, opens it. The room is modest but honest. Modest but honest. Modest but honest. Bed, wardrobe, a chair by a window that overlooks the east wing roof. Interesting. Candle on the nightstand, clean enough and personal in the way of rooms that have held people temporarily and absorbing nothing from them. Through the window of the east wing, the chimney exhales a thin smoke. Brom walks in, sniffs the perimeter carefully, sits in the center of the room, looks at you, looks at the window, looks at you again. Will this suffice? Aldric asks from the doorway. What does Ivan do? Oh, yes, this will do quite nicely. At what time do you expect me to post up at the East Wing? Aldrich grins to the door frame. The question pleases him. Precision of it. Asking professional questions. Sundown, he says. Which, at this time of year, is roughly 6:30. He glances at the window. East wing roof, the thin smoke. I would ask that you are in position by 6. Give yourself some time to become acquainted with that corridor before the light goes. He straightens his cuff again. The habit. I take my evening meal at 5. You're welcome to join me. It is a brief... He takes a brief pause. Advisable to eat before your shift. I find it difficult to arrange meals after sundown. He says this plainly without explaining why. Breakfast I take at 9. You'll report to me then. He produces a second key from his jacket pocket, then holds it out. The front gate in case you wish to walk the grounds this afternoon. He meets your eyes. The east wing exterior is not part of the grounds. I encourage you to... The east wing exterior is not part of the grounds I encourage you to explore. The footing on that side is poor. You take the key. Hold on a second. So he doesn't want me to go around the exterior of the east wing? I thought he was trying to get me to keep people from coming into the east wing. I'll have to ask him. We'll just ask him. The east wing exterior is not part of the grounds I encourage you to explore. The footing is on that side is poor. You take the key. Aldric remains in the doorway for a moment, looking at you, at Brom, at you again with the expression of a man running a final calculation. One more thing, Mr. Thorne, quietly. Yeah, quietly. If you hear something tonight that concerns you, come to me first, before you do anything else. He leaves that instruction exactly where it is. Dinner at 5. He walks down the hall without looking at the bolted door. It's mid-morning. The room is yours until 5. Ivan, what do you do? Dub cuts. What's happening? It's good to see you. I was running a slight D&D campaign with Claude as the DM. I've had the itch for some Dungeons and Dragons, and thought we'd let her rip. He walks back down the hall, so I didn't get to ask him about the East Wing. Claude, I have a question. The East Wing. I'm not supposed to let anyone in or out past 6. But I'm not allowed to explore the grounds outside. Question mark. Where am I standing guard? Excellent catch. And honestly, Aldric's instruction has been buried, have a very deliberate hole in them. He says, here's what he actually said. Station yourself in the east corridor, the hallway inside the house, outside the bolted door. Nothing enters the wing. Don't explore the exterior of the wing. Poor footing, he said. Report anything you hear in the morning. So you're guarding the door from inside the house, which means nobody is watching the outside. From inside the house, so which means nobody is watching the outside of the east wing at night. So we're watching the interior of the house, okay. The shuttered ground floor window, the exterior wall. Whatever footing is apparently poor. Aldric doesn't want you out there. Aldric has positioned you where you can hear everything and do nothing. You're not there to guard the wing. You're there to be accounted for. He wants to know exactly where you are after sundown. Brom is looking at you from the center of the room. The east chimney is still smoking. Something in there is warm and has been warm all morning. You have until 5 o'clock, Ivan. What do you do? Put the dog on the exterior to guard. That's not a bad idea. And to be honest, we're not here to see what's in the east wing. We're here to find the ledger. So we really need to know where he is so that we can, they said the ledger is at the top of the stairs, I think. Think about it. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, I think I have a good question. Is the top of the stairs and where we're staying the east wing? Just trying to get a better feel for the space. The main house is 2 stories. You are on the second floor of the main house. Your room is on the second floor. There's the second door on the right in the upper hall. The east wing is a ground floor addition. Okay, so it's down below. Newer stone, attached to the main house, but separate. Lower than the main house. Interesting. Okay. You can see this roof from the bedroom window, which means you're above it. Okay. The bolted door at the end of the upper hall is almost certainly the internal connecting point between the main house and the upper floor and whatever is in the east wing. Possibly a staircase down to it. Okay. That makes more sense. I was a little confused about that. The bolted door at the end of the upper hall is almost certainly an interconnecting point between the main house, the upper floor, and the east wing, and possibly a staircase down below it. So geographically, it roughly looks like this. Your room, the second floor in the main house, window overlooking the east room. The bolted door at the end of the hall connects to the east wing, bolted from your side. The east wing, the ground level, separate structure, shuttered window, north face, east wing chimney. You are above and adjacent to whatever is in that wing. Not in it, not outside it, directly above it. Brom has not taken his eyes off the floor since you worked that out. What do you do? So, my station is in front of that door, I believe. I just want to verify. Yes, that is exactly your station. That bolted door at the end of the upper hall. Aldric wants you sitting in a chair in front of it from sundown to sunrise. Close enough to hear anything that happens on the other side of it. Close enough to stop anyone going through it, which raises the question Aldric has very carefully not answered. The bolt is on your side of the door. You can open it whenever you want. Interesting. But he told you not to. Told you that previous guards let curiosity override professional judgment. Told you what to report what you hear and nothing more. But that bolt is on your side. And Sera needs you to get into that study on the second floor, which is, you look down the hall. This is the part I was looking at. I was trying to figure out where this ledger is. You look down the hall. Second floor. Door at the top of the stairs smells like pipe smoke and regret. Oh, yes. Okay. You count the doors. The study is 2 doors down from your room. You are already exactly where you need to be. Okay. Brom is sitting at the center of the room, looking at you with the patient expression of a dog who has done the math and is waiting for you to catch up. They're telling me the dog's way ahead of me. You have until 5 o'clock. Which way did Aldric go? Aldric walked back down the upper hallway from the bolted door towards the staircase and went downstairs. His study is down there, the second floor, the door at the top. His study is down there. Second floor, door at the top of the stairs. So the second floor, but at the... Aldric walked down the upper hallway, away from the bolted door, and went downstairs. His study is down there. The second floor door, the top of the stairs, pipe smoke and regret, which means it's technically the second floor, but opposite end of the hall from the bolts. This is confusing. Shout out to Stan. Stan had a great day. Stan was hanging out with us at Costco and was rewarded with a pepperoni pizza. So he is a content chappy. Speaking of which, I've updated his website too if you want to see it. He is www.thehurricanestand.com. That's thehurricanestand.com. I've been trying to put together his YouTube adventures so you can see them. All right, let's get back to figuring out where the... Is the study where I need to go? Is that the one that has the ledger in it? I'm trying to find this frickin' ledger. Staircase, study door, several doors, including your room. Aldric went downstairs. You heard his footsteps downstairs, and he is somewhere on the ground floor of the main house. The upper hall is currently empty and quiet. Your door is open. The study is 2 doors towards the staircase. It's mid-morning. You didn't tell me not to go in there, right? Mrs. Narhi, hi. Nice. Man, it's so good to see you, Dub Cuts. I've been trying to get back on here after a little while. I had a bunch of stuff with work and such, and just trying to make some time to wind down. You know what I mean? Let's let's find out if there's anyone else in the hall. The hall is empty. No staff visible up here. Aldric mentioned he dismissed most of them. The groundskeeper is outside. His patch of gravel going nowhere. Aldric's footsteps is settled somewhere below you. Sounds like somewhere in front of the house, in the sitting room maybe, or somewhere further. No movement, no voices, no footsteps, just the grandfather clock ticking downstairs. Steady and indifferent. And a faint sound barely there, drifting from behind the bolted door and at the end of the hall. That slow breathing. And in the daylight, quite empty hall is somehow worse than you expected. It's not loud, not dramatic, just deeply, profoundly wrong in the way that a thing is wrong when your body understands it before your mind catches on. Brom hears it too, his ears forward. He stood in the hallway and chooses not to step into the hall. That choice feels meaningful coming from a dog who walked 3 leagues without hesitation this morning. The hall is yours. The study door is 2 doors down. Nobody's watching. All right, that's what I was looking for. Ivan would like to stealthily proceed down the hall to the study. Yes, let's do that. Dex modifier +1 for stealth check. So that is a One small complication worth noting. Ivan is wearing chainmail. Chainmail imposes disadvantage on stealth checks. All right, so we rolled 2 d20s. That one's a 12. That one's a 16, so we got to go with the 12 plus 1. Is a 13. Not so fast. Disadvantage means 2 rolls. You gave me 1. The other was a 16. Good DMing, though. Chainmail is chainmail. It does what chainmail does. You move down the hall and with careful deliberateness of a large man, armored man, trying very hard not to sound like a very large armored man. Each step placed with surgical attention. Weight distributed. Breathing controlled. You are not silent. But the grandfather clock downstairs is doing you an enormous favor. It is steadily ticking, filling the quiet spaces, covering the small sounds, a metronome of plausible deniability. You reach the study door. A thin line of pipe smoke confirms it before you even touch the handle. Sera knew this room well. The smell of it has soaked into the wood over years, decades maybe. You listen at the door. Nothing from inside. Below you, distant, the sound of Aldric moving somewhere towards the front of the house. The sitting room by the sound of it. A chair, settling weight. He sat down. Brom has positioned himself at the top of the staircase, looking down, watching. The world's shaggiest early warning system. Your hand is on the study door handle. It is not locked. What do? I think we go in. Let's open the door slowly and peek in. Being careful not to disturb any occupants. The handle turns without resistance. Ease of the door opens. You ease the door open an inch, 2 inches, enough to see. The study is empty. You push it open far enough to slip through and pull it nearly closed behind you. Not latched, just resting, so it looks undisturbed from the hall. The room smells exactly as advertised. Pipe smoke and regret, with an undertone of old paper and something faintly chemical you can't immediately place. This is a well-used room. A large desk dominates the center, facing the window which overlooks the front gate and the road south. The road you came in on. He can see visitors coming from there. He has been able all morning. All right, so that wasn't very stealthy. The desk holds papers, an inkwell, pipe resting in a clay stand, several ledgers stacked to the left side, 3 of them, different colors, all closed. Bookshelves line 2 walls. Floor to ceiling, serious books, the kind of information, not decoration. A locked cabinet in the corner, small, iron branded, the only locked thing in an otherwise open room, which makes it the most interesting thing in the room. Cold fireplace, ash that hasn't been disturbed in days, and on the corner of the desk, a letter, unsealed, recently written. By the look of the ink, not yet sent. What does Ivan do? Well, our mission is to get the ledger, right? I like to thumb through the 3 ledgers, I think. And look for Sera's name. Roll me an investigation check. Oh, I got a -1 investigation? That sucks. Okay. Also worth noting, every second you're in the room, every second you're in this room is a second. Aldric could decide to come upstairs. Brom is at the top of the stairs. Roll fast. Okay. Let's see. 14 minus 1 is 13. Oops. And I just changed scenes because I forgot the equal sign is a hotkey for me. Whoops. There we go. $13, that'll do. You move to the desk with quiet efficiency, hands on the first ledger, crack it open, accounts, purchases, suppliers, dates going back to 3 years. Columns of numbers in a tight, careful hand. You scan quickly numbers of merchants, shipping companies, trade partners, nothing that looks like Sera, nothing personal. Second ledger, older, spine cracked slightly, and when you open it, you go still for a half a second. Downstairs, the clock ticks. Aldric doesn't move. You continue. This one's different, less structured. Names, dates, no amounts, but the record of the transaction that couldn't be written down properly. You scan the pages. There. S. Vane. Third page back. A date 6 months ago. Not next to a single word. Witness. Below in fresher ink, underlined once, liability. Your jaw tightens slightly because you understand what that means, even though, anyways, my stats. Sera didn't just want her name out of a ledger. Her name in this ledger could get her killed. The third ledger sits unopened downstairs. Brom makes a small sound, barely audible. Aldric is moving. What do you do? I suppose we pocket the ledger, right? Sneak out and act really interested in one of the paintings of the hallway? Yeah. Bold, committed, exactly the energy of a man with a -1 intelligence. Thank you. That's very nice. Very kind of you. You tuck the second ledger under your arm and inside your cloak in one motion. Close the other two in exactly the way you found them. Step out the door, ease it open. The hall is still empty. Brom glances up at you from the staircase, then back down. Aldric is coming, not running, walking. Measured footsteps of a man heading upstairs with no particular urgency. Maybe 12 seconds. Roll stealth. 2 d20s. Take the lower. Oh, so I'm taking disadvantage on stealth and add 1. Okay. Oh, man, that was a 19. And a 15. Not a bad roll. So take the lower +1. So 15 plus 16. First was 19. And I've changed scenes again. First was a 19. Second is a 15. Plus 1 is a 16. Let's see where that gets us. The chainmail gods are smiling. You're out of the study, pulling the door behind you in 4 steps. Smooth, controlled, the ledger flat against your body, under the cloak, where it makes no shape and no sound. 6 steps to the nearest painting. You are standing in front of it with your hands clasped behind you, behind your back, and your chin slightly elevated. One of these, I think, you know? Yes, yes. And Aldric appears at the top of the staircase. The painting is a landscape, rolling hills, a river. Competent but unremarkable. The kind of painting bought to fill the wall rather than move the soul. Ivan Stonewill regards it as with solemn appreciation of a man who has opinions about art. Aldric stops at the top of the stairs, looks at you, looks at the painting, looks at you. Mr. Thorne? The composition, Ivan says, without turning around. It's quite arresting. The artist has taken remarkable command of the negative space. You can feel the weight of the sky. A pause. Brom sits at the top of the stairs looking at the painting as though he finds it too arresting. Aldric looks at his study door, closed, undisturbed, looks back at you. Indeed, he says carefully. Are you settling in comfortably? So far, yes. Oh, I better. You know what? Let's try this again. So far, yes. I just got tired of looking at the 4 walls. I thought I would take a walk and see some of the fine antiquities you have around this fine establishment. Aldric looks at you for a moment that goes on just slightly too long, then smiles. Load-bearing smile, back into position. Of course, he says pleasantly. A man of your particular interest. He gestures down the hall with one hand. He gestures down the hall with one hand, the gracious host. These pieces in the lower hall are worth your attention. I acquired several during my travels through the eastern provinces. The bronze work especially. He moves to stand beside you in front of the landscape, studies it. This one belonged to my father, he says quietly. Something genuine moves across his face briefly, unexpected, gone quickly. Not worth much, but there it is. He glances at you sideways. You have a good eye, Mr. Thorne. Negative space. He looks back at the painting. Most people don't see that. He is complimenting you. He is also standing between you and the study door. Whether that is deliberate or coincidental is genuinely unclear, and that ambiguity is its own kind of information. Brom has not moved from the top of the stairs. He is watching Aldric with patient, steady attention of a dog who has decided to document everything. Aldric looks down at him. Remarkable animal, he says again, quietly. He means it differently this time. I want to make a sappy art comment here. Should we go turbo art brain on him? Let's go. Yes, the negative space is good, but I find the visual weight wanting. The chiaroscuro shading is really doing its heavy lifting here. That was the kind of comment that, let me pick up a handful of, or a plate full of sushi at a art gallery and eat through college. If you want to get fed, go to an art gallery. They'll feed you. Otter turns and looks at the painting, then looks at you, then turns back at the painting again. He stops. The expression of a man who has just encountered the word which he does not recognize and is now performing the internal calculation at considerable speed. Does not know the term and has simply forgotten it. Is this regional variation? Is this a man more educated than he appears? Is he being made a fool of in his own hallway? His face does none of this visibly. Quite, he says. Quite. The single most useful word in the English language for a man who has absolutely no idea what has just been said to him and cannot afford to appear that way. He clasps his hands behind his back, studies the painting with renewed and slightly desperate attention, as though the chiaroscuro shading may reveal itself if he looks hard enough. It is, he tries, somewhat heavy-handed in places, I always thought. Brom looks at the painting, looks at you. If a dog could be seen to be actively suppressing something, he would look exactly like Brom looks like right now. Shall I show you the bronze work downstairs, Mr. Thorne? Aldric says with the energy of a man who would very much like to change locations. That sounds quite lovely. Do lead on. Oh, I can do that this way. Let me try that again. That sounds quite lovely. Do lead on. I got to flex some art muscle in this game. That was fun. Aldric descends the staircase with the relieved energy of a man leaving the conversation that has gotten away from him. You follow, the ledger flat against your ribs under the cloak. Silence still. Brom brings up the rear with quiet dignity. The lower half is indeed better appointed than the upper. Aldric moves through it with returning confidence. This is his ground. He knows these pieces, has stories for them. You can see him deciding which ones to tell. He stops at the bronze figure on the narrow pedestal. Eastern work. Old. A warrior of mid-stride, one-armed race. A face caught in the expression somewhere between fury and ecstasy. 3rd century, Aldrich says. Pride. The pride of his voice is genuine. Whatever else he is, he loves these things. Acquired it from a collector in Vernmore who did not know what he had. A small satisfied smile. The weight alone tells you its age. Modern foundries cannot replicate it. He looked at you with the open expression of a man on comfortable ground finally. Then from the upper hall, from behind the bolted door, a sound. Not breathing this time. Something else entirely. A single sound. A knock. Deliberate. Measured. 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. Aldrich goes completely still. Brom sits down on the floor and will not look at the ceiling. What does Ivan do? Do you want me to report that, or am I not on duty yet? We'll say that to Aldric. Aldric looks at the ceiling, then at you. Looks at the bronze figurine as though it might offer counsel. Then something happens that is even more unsettling than anything that has occurred in this manor so far. He laughs. Not a big laugh, small, quiet, almost to himself. The laugh of a man who has just heard something that has surprised him into honesty for a second. For exactly 1 second. He composes himself quickly. The smile back in its position. Consider yourself, he straightens his cuff, on trial basis at this moment. He looks at the ceiling again. The knocking has stopped. The breathing has resumed. Slow, patient. The rhythm of something that has decided it can't wait. Note it, Aldric says quietly. 3 knocks. Time of the occurrence. Late morning. He looks at you directly. That is all. Note it, and nothing more. He looks at the bronze figurine as though the conversation about art might simply resume. Then quietly, almost to himself, in a voice that has briefly stopped performing, it only knocks when there is someone new in the house. He picks up the figurine, sets it down. Shall we resume the tour, Mr. Thorne? It is not a question. Yes, let us resume. How old exactly did you say this bronze was? Oh, it didn't take it. Hold on. Yes, let us resume. How old exactly did you say this bronze was? Not browns. Bronze. Bronze. Aldric looks at you. The gratitude on his face is microscopic but present. You have given him exactly what he needs. Solid ground, known territory, a question with the answer he controls completely. He turns back to the figurine, a relieved energy of a man stepping out of cold weather. 3rd century, he says, warming to it immediately. Though the provenance is disputed that the certain academic circles, he picks it up carefully with both hands. The way you hold something you respect. The school of thought that there's a school of thought that places it late second, but they're working on from photographs and photographs. He glances at you. Photographs lie. Weight doesn't. Interesting. They have photographs right now. He holds it towards you, offering it. Feel it. He's not performing now. This is genuine. The merchant has stepped aside, and something older is there. A man who simply loves beautiful things that cannot help himself. The alloy is wrong for the 2nd century production. Too much tin. They were compensating for copper shortage and historically documented in. He stops himself, almost smiles. Forgive me. I tend to go on. He sets it back on the pedestal with extraordinary care. From upstairs, silence. The breathing continues. It's slow and different rhythm. Something that has been here longer than the tour. Longer than the bronze. Longer than possibly anything Aldric Voss thinks he understands about what he purchased. Shall we see the cellar? Aldric says pleasantly. I have a remarkable collection of Brom growls. First time all day. Low. Chest deep. not at Aldric. At the east wing exterior door of the ground floor corridor. Someone is on the other side of it. What does Ivan do? Ooh. Man, it's really pointing the curiosity finger here, isn't it? Hmm. Huh. Do we go on to the cellar, or do we make a comment like, "Hey, bud, what's going on over there?" I'm not sure. Hmm. I'm gonna talk to the dog, to Brom. Hey, buddy. What's up? Something wrong? Brom doesn't look at you. Doesn't stare at Aldrich. Stays fixed on the east wing exterior door and completely focused on the attention of an animal that has made a professional assessment and is communicating it as clearly as a dog can communicate anything. His growl is steadily controlled. Not panic, not aggression, a warning. The kind that knows, I know what that is, and you should too. Aldrich has gone very still beside you, the bronze figurine forgotten. His pleasant expression has been replaced by something underneath it that has always been there and is now visible in the way that a rock is visible when the tide goes out. Fear. Not from Brom, from whatever Brom is looking at it. Mr. Thorne, he says in a voice very quiet, very level, a voice of a man applying enormous effort to sound calm. I need you to stand between myself and that door. And he takes one step back. Right now, please. Outside, beyond the door. No sound, no footsteps, no knock. Just the sense of something on the other side of that door that knows you are on this side of it. Breathing from the upstairs has stopped. Complete silence in the east wing, as though whatever is up there is also listening. Brom takes one step forward towards the door and stops. Fur up along his spine. Interesting. Whoa. Kind of spooky. It seems that you'd like some protection from what's behind the door. Something seems to be bothering you, pal. What exactly am I protecting you from? What's behind that door? Aldric looks at you, the mask down fully. For the first time since he walked through his gate, he is a frightened man who made a decision 6 weeks ago that he understood the shape, but not the weight and of what, but not the weight of, and what has been living with the weight ever since. He opens his mouth, closes it, looks at the door. Brom's growl drops lower. Brrr. Subsonic almost. Felt almost more than heard. I purchased it at auction, Aldric says quietly. I knew what it was. I knew its value. He swallows. I did not know that it could. He stops. Starts again. It's old, he says. Older than the bronze, older than the house, older than Brackenhollow. His eyes stay at the door. It came in a crate lined with symbols I didn't recognize and didn't ask about because the price was good. And he stops again. I am a foolish man, Mr. Thorne. It doesn't stay in the wing, he whispers. Not always. Not at night. The door handle moves slowly. From the outside, Aldric takes 2 full steps backward. It walks the grounds, he finishes, and sometimes it knocks to be let back in. And I think that's probably the perfect spot to end, and we'll pick back up here. I really appreciate everybody hanging out and hanging in there with me on this experiment. I'm going to try to stream more often. I'm going to try to do at least a game stream, a music stream, and at least a game stream and a music stream. And then if anybody throws me on a DJ raid train or something, I'll be happy to jump in. Other than that, thank you for hanging out here. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's been fun playing some Dungeons and Dragons with Claude here. And we'll see you soon. As always, you can check out my schedule coming up. I've got I'm starting to post both live streams and upcoming live events at MrBusy.art. And I've made some updates to the website, so you can also check out djdamselfly.com and thehurricanestand.com and check out all their content. You can also drop us a line there. Be fun to hear from all of you. And like I said, the schedule's up there, and we'll keep it updated as often as possible. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon. Got some more beats cooking, so hopefully at some time we'll resume Beehive Underground. Not quite yet. We'll do a couple of these streams here until I find my rhythm, and we'll look into it some more. But thanks for hanging out. We'll do this again soon. Thanks. It's been a blast.